Welcome back to Miss B Biology. This is a revision lesson on the topic control of blood glucose concentration. At the end of the lesson, there will be a quiz. Ensure you partake in that. Grab your book, grab your pen, and let us begin. Lesson objective. At the end of the lesson, everyone should be able to explain how insulin controls blood glucose levels. Higher tier students, you should be able to explain how glucagon controls blood glucose level. And you should also be able to explain the interaction between insulin and glucagon in negative feedback. Our body cells require a constant supply of glucose. But what is this glucose needed for? The glucose is needed for respiration. Respiration allows cells to release energy. The energy is needed for things such as muscle contraction for movement, cell division, and the making of large molecules. When you digest a meal rich in carbohydrates, large amount of glucose is absorbed by the blood. If the blood glucose were not regulated, then sometimes it would be too high or too low. Blood glucose needs to be constant. The endocrine system of the body allows for the regulation of blood glucose levels. This is an example of homeostasis. The pancreas is responsible for controlling the blood glucose concentration. Remember, the pancreas is this leaf-shaped organ that is found below the stomach. How does the pancreas control the blood glucose concentration? The pancreas uses two hormones to control the blood glucose levels, and one is insulin, the other is glucagon. Let us now look at what happens when your blood glucose levels are above normal. If your blood glucose level is too high, your pancreas will detect this increase and release insulin into the blood. Insulin will cause glucose to move from the blood and enter cells where it is used for respiration. Excess glucose is stored in the liver and muscle cells as glycogen. This entire action will cause the blood glucose level to fall. Students who are doing the foundation tier, you can stop watching at this point. Thank you for watching and all the best in your exam. Higher tier students, let's continue. Let us now talk about what happens when your blood glucose level is below normal. If the blood glucose level is too low, it is the same pancreas that will detect this decrease in blood glucose and release a hormone that is called glucagon into the blood. Glucagon will cause the glycogen that was stored in the liver to be broken down back to glucose and enter the bloodstream. Respiration will also decrease as less glucose is entering your cells. The entire action will cause the blood glucose level to rise. Let us now look at a summary of blood glucose regulation. This line represents normal glucose level. If the blood glucose level were to increase above the normal, the pancreas will detect this increase. The pancreas will release a hormone that is called insulin. Insulin causes glucose to move from the blood and enter cells for respiration. Excess glucose is stored in the liver and the muscle cells as glycogen. This entire action will cause the blood glucose level to fall and go back to the normal level. If blood glucose level were to decrease, then the same pancreas will detect this decrease and release a hormone that is called glucagon. Glucagon causes the glycogen that was stored in the liver to be broken down back to glucose and released into the blood. Respiration will also decrease. The entire action will cause the blood glucose level to rise. Let us now look at negative feedback. The behavior of insulin and glucagon in the blood glucose regulation is described as negative feedback. Negative feedback system works to maintain a constant environment. So whatever the initial change in the environment of the body, negative feedback causes the opposite to return the conditions to the ideal point. So, for example, when the blood glucose levels were too high, negative feedback causes it to decrease and go back to the ideal point. If the blood glucose levels were too low, negative feedback causes it to increase and go to the ideal point. So the opposite is always happening in a negative feedback mechanism. There are three words in this topic that students usually get confused with, and they tend to not spell them properly. The first one is glucose. Remember, glucose is the sugar produced from digested carbohydrates. The next one is glycogen. Glycogen is the large storage molecule made up of glucose. And glucagon. Glucagon is the hormone released from the pancreas when blood glucose level is below normal. So glucose is the sugar, glycogen is the storage molecule, and glucagon is the hormone. It is now quiz time. Let us test our knowledge on this topic. First question. What is the product of carbohydrate digestion? Is it A, amino acids, B, starch, C, glucose? The answer is glucose. What is the importance of glucose in cells? Is it for respiration, B, for osmosis, C, for insulin production? The answer is respiration. This organelle is the site for respiration. Is it A, the nucleus, B, ribosomes, C, mitochondria? The answer is mitochondria. Which organ controls the blood glucose levels? Is it A, the liver, B, pancreas, C, stomach? Answer is pancreas. Which hormone causes a decrease in blood glucose level? Is it A, insulin, B, glycogen, C, glucagon? The answer is insulin. Where is glycogen stored? Is it in the stomach, B, the pancreas, C, liver? Liver. Name the hormone released when blood glucose is below normal. A, glucose, B, glucagon, C, glycogen. The answer is glucagon. Thank you again for watching. I hope that you guys will do well in your exams. Bye bye.